it is time for headphone highlights. Pretty interesting topic today. So once again, we are in a no category situation right now where we're just kind of talking about whatever we have on hand that is cool and interesting. Though what we do have is an IEM. So as I mentioned, we probably would see more IEMs down the line, and here we go. We're about to. These are pretty interesting and pretty special. These are... I'm not going to pronounce this name right, and I'm sorry. But nevertheless, these are the Letshuoer, whatever, Z12s. Get this side by side here so you can actually get a better look at that. The Z12s. Now, if you're at all involved in the audiophile community, the little Z icon there might look familiar to you. Because what these are a collaboration between a headphone IEM manufacturer and a audiophile audio reviewer, a YouTuber. Here's the box right here. Boom, boom. These are a partnership with Z Reviews, who is an audiophile enthusiast and headphone and audio reviewer. I follow Z myself. I think he's a pretty cool guy. I think he is entertaining as hell. So this is a collaboration that he made with Letshuoer, whatever. And what these are his own brand of their S12s. Yeah, the Letshuoer S12. So the S12s are, you know, from my understanding, Z made a video about these on his own channel where he kind of described what he did here exactly. But basically, you know, he talked with them about changing some of the tuning a little bit, and really what he went for with this, in his own words, is he kept them pretty much the way that they normally are, but with a bigger bass extension. I don't have S12s. I've never heard the S12s, so I can't make that comparison. But I will talk about the Z12s in their own merit. So yeah, it's pretty neat, right? It's pretty neat. If that's interesting to you, this was also a very limited run. I don't remember exactly how many were being made. I think it was about 500. So I was lucky enough to jump in there and grab a set. If it's interesting at all to you, I have number 59 of whatever. So that's cool. Let's take a look at, well, first let's take a look at what it came with. It came with some interesting stuff. So we take off the sleeve, we have another box with Letshuoer again, however you want to pronounce that. Let's be real. Okay. Open that up. You get lots of paperwork. That's fun. You get a little card. Also fun. But you also get... Right here is where your drivers are going to be housed and presented to you. But you get this nice little case right here that has the swappable memory foam tips, which I'm using on them now, and they're quite nice. They're nice little tips. You know, normally I might recommend Dakoni nuggets, and I'm pretty sure that Z himself recommends Dakoni nuggets for these IEMs, but I think that the ones that the tips that they come with are perfectly usable and perfectly fine. I like them. They're very squishy, and that's very nice. We also get in here a perfectly usable little carrying case. It says Letshuoer on there, and it's just a nice usable little... Oh my god, a nice usable little case. It's fine. It's dandy. It's whatever. It's great. You know, you're gonna give me a free case. Cool. So I like that. That's great. Other thing it came with. This one is a little bizarre. I have not heard of anything like this. I have not seen anything like this until this headphone. I don't know what to call this thing. Basically what this is a strap that goes around your neck like so. You take your drivers, your IEMs and you loop them up in through each side, right? Here, you know what? I'm gonna do this for you right here, right now on camera, so you can see what we're trying to do. I put my cable through this little hole here on the leather strap. I plug my IEM back in, and now the purpose of this thing, as silly as it is it sits around your neck like so. And now when I take my IEM, get it untangled from the cable, I wear it normally, right? It still just sits in my ear like it normally would. But now because of the strap, if I want to, I could just take it out and let it drop. And now it's still like hanging on me. That's what this thing is about. It's a little thing to kind of like hold your IEM so you can drop them and still have them just like resting on your shoulders. So that's interesting. Like I said, I've never seen that before. It reminds me a lot of the like late 80s and 90s where you would have like sunglasses that have the like cord that goes around the back of your neck so that you can have them dangle on your chest or whatever. Bizarre, wild and weird, but I kind of like it. It is effective. It absolutely is. You know, if you're walking around your house with your IEMs, I feel like something like this would be really, really nice. I think it's a little weird. And you'll notice that I'm not using it myself. That's because I don't walk around my IEMs. I sit here at my desk and do my music and my gaming and whatever. So I don't need this, but it's nice to have. It's cool. It says Hi-Fi Go on there, which is the brand of the website that this whole collaboration took place on. And it is real leather. It has a very nice, pleasant, leathery smell. Just kind of weird. And that's okay. I like weird. Give me more weird. I like it when things are weird. So there you go. That's kind of cool. What it also came with, which I have around here somewhere. I don't know where the heck I put it. It came with a set of balance cables, which is very, very nice. The cables that I came with are very similar to the cables that I have on here now, so we'll just kind of showcase that since I can't find the balance cables on my desk. So the cable that they come with is quite nice. It's very simple. It's just a simple, two weave sort of cable, but it's very has a nice kind of drapiness to it. It's, as you can see, it's not like super janky. It's not super ridiculously long, but it's also not super ridiculously short. It's a good length. I like it. It feels really nice in the hand. It has a little bit of like it's got a nice rubber protective coating over it, but it's not super sticky and tacky. It's just nice, and I like the kind of like silvery grayish color to it. It's a good cable. I actually really like this cable. The termination also has some really nice machining going on there as well. See if the camera will pick that up. There we go. Yeah. It's just nice, like a silver gunmetal look to it. It's very clean and modern. It's very, very nice. I like this a lot. The cable is detachable, I think, as you might have seen earlier. So it does just kind of pop on and off right there, like so. It uses a 2-pin connector. There you go. So it goes in, one way and one way only. And yeah, it's a nice cable. I dig it. You don't think you would use it. It's a little, as you say, weird, but I could. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, would I use this normally? Probably not, but it's neat and nice to have. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Crazy. Anyway, let's take a look at the actual IEMs themselves. So they are red and blue for your right and left channel. That's Zeos's Z Reviews, his typical kind of color scheme that he prefers. He likes things red and blue for right and left channel. Makes sense. And in this case, I actually really like it. I think that it's a really nice paint job on the metal there. It has kind of a nice, almost metallic sheen to it, very similar to maybe what you would see on a car. It's done very, very well. It's very, very clean. And I really like it. I really like, it's not like a it doesn't look like candy to me. And that's the thing about when you have really harsh red and blues like this, is you're in danger of it looking like candy or looking like a toy. Not the case here. These have a very kind of refined, very nice paint job to these. I like it a lot. And his little Z Review logo being on there too is just kind of, it's you know what, it's cool. I'll just flat out say it. That's cool. So neat, very nice. They are metal, but they must be aluminum or something very close to it. Maybe some sort of zinc aluminum alloy, I don't know. But they're pretty light. So despite having these very robust metal construction, they're very light. So it's a lovely combination. Okay, so there's your building your accessories. The comfort is not something I generally talk about when it comes to IEMs, because that's, you know, it's going to be different between person to person. But again, because they're quite light, they're pretty darn comfortable considering they're IEMs. I can easily just kind of lap them around my ears like this, give those tips a little bit of a squeeze, pop them in there. Explosive raid! Who's raiding? Tenacious! Tenacious, thank you so much for the raid. Raiders, hello. I am Master Marslander. I am a variety streamer and headphone enthusiast, and you just happened to raid in the middle of our headphone highlight. Thank you so much for stopping by. Very good to see you, Tenacious. So yeah, they fit perfectly well. It's a nice fit, and with the memory foam tips that they come with, they're extremely isolating. I can't really hear my fan anymore. My voice is very muffled. So the passive noise isolation on these with those memory foam tips is very good isolation. So I like it a lot. It's a good fit, good isolation, and they look nice, and they have a nice cable. It's all good stuff. Good. All right, so sound. Unfortunately, like I said, I have not heard the S12, so I can't compare these directly to those S12s. Though I believe the consensus with the S12s is that they're very pleasant and people really like them, and they have a sound signature that is enjoyable by most people. So I can't disagree with that. I haven't heard them. I'm gonna have to just, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But hey, Manshun, good to see you. So what I can tell you though is kind of just how they sound to me in general. And overall, I kind of really like them. I'm not gonna lie. They have some, like I said before, Zeos claims that the only thing he really wanted to change was to add some more bass extension to the sound signature from the S12s. And yeah, he did that. I can see that for sure. Because these have very deep, impactful bass. You get some really nice sub bass, and the bass extension is just, it's pretty awesome. These hit really hard, and they hit with a bass range that is very kind of huge sounding, so it's really satisfying. And the bass range doesn't have a tendency to bleed too much. It doesn't kind of rumble off into the mid range that much. So it's fairly controlled. It can be a little intense, but overall, compared to a lot of other really bass intense IEMs I have heard, it's a lot better controlled, and it's a lot higher quality. It's very clean, clear bass, especially in that kind of lower sub bass range. It's also quite fast bass when it needs to be. Sometimes it could be a little, you know, it can kind of rumble a little bit, but sometimes that's what you want, and I kind of like it. So good solid bass range for sure. So they do lean a little bit warm. They're not neutral, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So they are a little warm. That extra bass range really kind of helps bring up that warmth. But interestingly enough, there is also a little bit of metallicness to it, and that sounds maybe like a negative, but it's not necessarily. On my little notes here, I wrote down that snare drums in particular had kind of a metallic sense to them. They sounded very kind of chimey, like not chimey, but very kind of quick impact, and less like you would expect from a real drum, and more maybe what you expect from a engineered, like sound engineered drum. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have very, very quick, very high tempo music that has that snare drum, these actually might be quite nice for that, because they have the speed to keep up with that kind of thing. So your snare drums are very, very clear and very, very snappy. They just maybe don't sound necessarily the most natural sounding, but that's really only for your kind of super high mids and that kind of snare drum range where that was really ever really noticeable for me. So otherwise, very, very nice. There's not a whole lot of soundstage. The soundstage is pretty narrow, but that's fairly to be expected with an IEM. And it is a very kind of cone-shaped sound. The spatial awareness that you're getting is very forward and to the side. You're not getting a whole lot above you, you're not getting a whole lot below you, you're not getting a whole lot behind you. It's very much kind of just straightforward and out like this. And in here, though, you're getting some pretty good stuff. The imaging is, it's okay. It's very narrow, though. It doesn't sound like you're hearing things, like, again, you're not hearing them all around you. You're hearing them very forward, but you're able to identify where they're coming from pretty easily. So pretty decent imaging while it is a little bit narrow. What else we got here? Yeah, okay. The vocals are quite nice. They're very forward. Female vocals have a very kind of crispness to them, and they're very, very present, and they're very intimate sounding. Male vocals, on the other hand, are very, very rich and have this resonance to them that's really, really pleasing. They're also very forward, but I would say that the male vocals maybe sound a little bit further back, not quite as intimate as the female vocals, but it's very, very nice. I really like the resonance that these give to almost add some velvetiness to male vocals. What else we got here? I'll get to that. So the dynamics are pretty good. They're not the most dynamic IEM, but for what you're getting out of here, they're quite nice. It's not bland at all. There's nothing bland about these. They have a very nice energy and very good mixing of dynamics. So while the image separation is fairly narrow, the instrument separation is very clear. It's very easy to tell who's playing what, where it's coming from, and that instrument is almost always very, very clear. It's not being drowned out by something else. So your instrument separation is very, very nice. So which is, that's imaging. Imaging is nice. It's just narrow. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I'm trying to make sense of my own notes here. Nice mid-range, high mid detail. Yes. The high mid-range detail on these is very, very nice. The really, really high end, like your real high treble range, is a little bit recessed. It's not super, super bright and sparkly. It's just pulled down a little bit, and it's not the most intense detail in the high end, but the high mid range is very, very, very clean and very nice, particularly with like strings, guitar picking, and all that kind of range of sound. Very, very clear, very, very fast. So it does a really good job with acoustic guitar, and even some piano as well. Sounds very, very clean and snappy and right there. It's lovely. They do suffer just a little bit, and I say this a little hesitantly, because I only really noticed it with a couple of things. They do suffer just the tiniest bit with a little bit of sibilance but it seems very determined on what you're listening to. In my case, I was listening to some Woodkid, and if you're familiar with him, he has a very kind of rich, chocolatey kind of voice. But his S's and his T's did sometimes hit towards the very, very edge of sibilant. It was never so much that it made me wince. It was never so much that it hurt and it was painful, but it was very nice nonetheless. So overall, I think these are pretty freaking great. I think that they definitely have a sound that most people are going to enjoy. I don't think anyone who isn't just a big audio snob is going to have much to complain about here. The low end in particular is really, really energetic and really huge sounding, and I think that makes that's where these really, really shine, is their low end and their high mid detail retrieval. And I, you know, like I said, I watch Z Reviews myself. I think he's a pretty cool dude. I think he's hilarious, and I'll put a link to his channel in the description so you can go check him out yourself if you'd like to. I don't always agree with everything that he says, but I think in general, he and I have a fairly similar taste in sound. And maybe it is for that reason that I find these as enjoyable as I do, but nonetheless, I like them a lot. I don't think they really compare with maybe like my moon drops that we talked about before, but I don't think they're really meant to. They're a little bit of a novelty because they are a limited run, you know, YouTube partnership headphone. But they're cool. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that he got to do that. I think it's cool that it actually got made. These kind of things usually don't get made. They get talked about but never actually, you know, come to fruition. And I think it's cool. I just think it's cool. There's your overall review of these things. They are cool. That's how sophisticated we are over here at the Headphone Highlights. So, there you go. The Z12s. Cool stuff. I like them. And we'll end that there. Okay.